Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at JASMY. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to discuss here is the potential of that bullish count, where we're actually looking for that possibility of a breakout to the upside. So what we're talking about here is the potential that this could be a wave 1 A wave, and then we're looking for this as a B or wave 2. Now what we could still see is, because we're still within this range, what we could actually argue is we are still looking for the potential of this continuation to the upside. So we've actually come down here and we've actually bounced perfectly off this 0.854. I do, however, think that there is still potential for continuation here. So we need to just be aware that even though we have actually technically come down here and hit some of these criterias, so we've hit the 0.618 of this as a wave A and a B. We've also hit the 1236 of the Y wave. So we've met a couple of criterias here. We need to be cautious of that potential of a reversal to the upside, though this will only get confirmed by actually taking this B wave high. Now, I am still thinking we potentially still have a little bit lower to come here. So I will be keeping an eye on this 1-to-1, which is sitting here towards us 00281. Now, what we need to be careful of here is there is alternatives where we could be looking to break down and actually take this low. For as long as we take this, or as long as we stay above this 00271, what we could actually have here is this bullish potential, where we have either this as an A, this is a B, and then we're looking for a C wave, or alternatively we could have this as 1-2. So until we actually break this low, this is still a possibility, and we are still maintaining the support zone. So I'm going to be watching out for that potential of a reversal to the upside, though we need to see the actual wave start to follow through here. Now, if we're looking at this as ABC, what we could argue is that there still is a little bit of downside to come here. So I'm actually going to come into the 1 hourly and we're going to come in a bit closer. What we would be looking for here, so this is my primary expectation, for as long as we actually remain below this 00366, what we could actually see is price continue to the downside for this additional fifth wave, in which case we'd be looking for this zone here of this 00309 to this 00295. Now, if we do see price actually fall down here in a 5-wave structure, then we would be having a confirmation that this count is actually completed. Now, from there, what I'd still be anticipating is an additional 4th wave to the upside. For as long as we actually stay below this 00371, we would then be expecting a 5th wave to the downside, looking to target out this 00292 to this 00275 area. So this would be looking for that C wave. So if I now overlay this, what we could see is that this would actually bring us very close to the lower range here. And if I come out a little bit further, we can see that that would put us right in this range of this 1-to-1. So I would be keeping an eye on this level if we do actually look to continue down. But like I said, we need to just be cautious here, because there is the potential where we could actually complete earlier on, and then we could actually look to reverse to the upside. But like I said, until we actually start to break to the upside and cross this wave 1 of this 00388, I am primarily thinking we still have some continuation to the downside here. Now, if we do manage to maintain this low, then potentially we can still look for that bullish case where we could actually have a bigger reversal to the upside. Alternatively, if we do come down here and this is actually a B wave, what we could see is that this low could technically still be taken, where this becomes A, we see a B like this, and then we still actually see a C wave to the upside. So we need to just be aware, even if we take this low point here, it doesn't necessarily mean that the upside is off the table. It could just mean that we are forming a bigger corrective structure here. Now, if we did have to form something like that, what we'd actually be looking for would be the potential that we are still within this bigger X wave here. Now, the 1-to-1 of the previous X wave would actually be up here towards this 001238. So if we did see something like this, where this becomes A, B, and C, what we could see, or A, B, and C, what we could see is a move up towards this zone of the 001238 as a possible target area. But for as long as we actually maintain this high here, what we need to be careful of is that this could also in itself just be an ABC like this, and we could actually be looking to break to the downside for the Z wave. Now, the Z wave target is actually lower down here. The 0.618 would actually be here at this 0091. I'm going to come into the daily, where we'd actually be treating this move as a W, X, Y, X, and then a Z. So if we do look to push down deeper here, we do have some of these lower target areas here. The 0.618 would be particularly interesting to me, as well as this 1-to-1. So we need to just be careful that if we do start to break down deeper here, this could actually be looking to reject in a bigger way to the downside. So if we are in this Z wave, what I would actually be looking for would be the potential that we're starting to build the structure down here, where we're actually looking to complete this as an A wave and actually looking to push down for this A, get this B up and this C to the downside, looking for this to actually form a bigger A wave before looking for a B wave back up and then a C wave down for that 3-wave move for that Z wave. So if we do see price form this as ABC here, until we actually take this high again, we need to be cautious of this zone here, of this 0.6, this 0.5, which would be here at the 00499 to this 0786 at the 00646. If we want to look for that upside potential, what we want to see is price break above this higher level and then actually look to continue up here, taking these highs. Until we actually do that, we need to be aware that we still have some bearish scenarios here where we could see price look to continue to the downside. So we need to just be aware there is that potential for a reversal, but that relies on actually holding this low here of this 00271. Like I said, potentially we could also argue there is something like this as a W, X, and a Y, and this is A, this is B, and we see a C wave up. But either way, it would just be that we're going to have a short-term 5-wave move up before actually looking for continuation again to the downside. So need to keep an eye on that. If we do actually look to move up in a corrective pattern, that indicates that we're actually going to see price look to fall off. Now, the other thing we need to be careful of here is there is the potential that we could still look at this as a bigger 5-wave move. So if we are looking at this as a 5-wave move to the downside, what this would mean is that we're actually looking to break down from this point here as a 1, 2, and then we're actually looking for this bigger 3rd wave to the downside. Now, confirmation of this, given our current area, would actually be towards this zone of this 00268, and then we'd actually be looking for this 5th wave potentially to come back down here towards this zone of this 00241 to this 00206. So we need to be cautious of this. If we do see price actually fall down into these levels, what we could then get is a confirmation that we actually have this 3rd wave in place. So we're not too far away from this. This is why I'm saying we need to just be a bit cautious here. What we could have within this, now this looks quite complicated. I'm going to come here into the 1 hourly and I'm going to explain this a little bit better. What we do have is the potential that we could have this as a 1, 2, this is a 1, 2 here, and then effectively that we're starting to break down in this bigger yellow 3rd wave, which is marked out by this white count over here. So what we'd be looking for here is the possibility that price could actually look to continue to break down, where this is 1, 2, 1, 2. We get this as the same idea as that C wave. We get this as a 5th wave. We get another 4th to the upside for another 4th to the upside, and then we get another 5th wave to the downside, looking for this zone here of this 00291 to this 00274. Now, an interesting level here, if we are looking at this as a 1 and a 2, would actually be this 3.618, which is lower down here towards this 00274. Now, if we do see price break down into this level, what we could then see is an additional 4th wave to the upside here, looking to actually stay below the 00374 before continuing to the downside again towards the 00271 to the 00251, and then we'd still have an additional 4th wave here. So the key thing here is, for as long as price fails to actually break back above these previous 4th wave areas, what we could actually see is price continue down. Now on this, I have these areas marked out based off of typical zones. When we get extensions, sometimes these 4th waves might not reach these higher targets here, and we could even see lower bounces which fail to achieve this 0.236 level. So we're going to have to monitor the structure on this rather than these levels, but this just gives us a kind of guide. Now, if we do actually see this move down here towards the 00245 to the 00221, so if I overlay the bigger count here, what we can see is that this wave 3 target here of this 1618 at this 00268 is quite achievable if this count is actually in play here. So we could actually see this play out where we see this 3rd wave actually come down deeper here towards this lower target box, and that would then change these internal targets. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this and see exactly where this wave 3 actually looks to complete. But then what we'd be expecting from there would actually be the potential of seeing a move to the upside in an additional 3-wave move, and then continuation to the downside in 5 waves. So we're going to have to see exactly how this plays out. Having a look at the weekly CPRs, what we can see here is that we are currently below the R3 line. So we've actually technically met the targets for this week. So this means that potentially we could actually see price start to move to the upside. It doesn't mean that it has to, but what we could actually still see is these lines be important levels. So this 373 potentially as resistance or finding support above it, or this 409, this 440, as well as these central lines up here if we do actually move up into the zone of this 477 to this 470 region. So be keeping an eye on that. So these will be actually getting a new set of lines printed at the end of play today. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those tomorrow and see what these can give us as possible indications of where price could be going next week. As well as that, we do have the monthly pivots. And if I turn these on, what we can see here is that we actually came down to this R1 line and found support here. If we do actually look to hold this, what we could then potentially do is look to move back up towards these central CPR lines, which is this 511 area to this 616 level. So that would be our central lines here. Now we can just move up to these, reject, and continue down, or alternatively, if we do look to flip these into support, what we could see throughout this month is the potential to come up here towards this 691, this 924, and this higher range here of this 1050. Now this higher area of this 1050 would be particularly interesting to me, because if we did see this play out, that would tie into that idea that this is A, B, and C. And actually what we'd be looking to do is actually revisit some swing highs here towards this zone of this 1057. That would be particularly an interesting one to me, as well as this zone of support here, this potential zone of resistance over here. So going to be keeping an eye on this if we do actually see price look to continue to the upside here in an additional leg. If however we see price start to break down here, what we could also see is the potential to get gravitated towards this R2 line here at this 204. So I'll be keeping an eye on this as well. You know, if we do start to continue to break down, this 0204 could be actually an interesting zone to just be mindful of. Okay, so looking at the Ichimoku cloud here on the hourly, what we can see is we're currently below the conversion line and the baseline. So what we could see is actually rejection of these levels. So we do have this zone here of the 0353. We have this 370, as well as the bottom of the cloud is sitting in this area. As well as that, if we do look to push up slightly higher here, we could actually look to reject off the top of this cloud, which is sitting between the zone of this 400 level to this 386. Now if I come over here onto the 4 hourly, once again same idea, conversion line here at this 372, baseline at this 414, and then the potential for a rejection off the cloud higher up if we do see price move up there. Now obviously this is very thin here, so price can move through this relatively easy. We need to just be aware of that. As well as that, if we come onto the 8 hourly, we have the conversion line sitting here towards that 400. So that's tying in with that idea of that the top of that cloud on the 1 hourly. We have the baseline up here towards this 423. So keeping an eye on that as well. As well as that, if we do see a bigger push to the upside in a 3-wave move, I would be keeping an eye on the zone of this 476 as the bottom of this cloud here. And then if it does look to push up higher here, we have this area of the 609, which could be quite an interesting area depending on how long it takes for price to actually move up. As well as that, if we come onto the daily here, we can see the cloud is starting to build up above us. We do have the conversion line here at this 415, and we do have the baseline sitting up here towards this 558 region. If we see this price move back up here, potentially we could see a reaction around that 400 level. That does seem to have quite a bit of confluence there. Now if we do actually look to push up higher, what I'd then be looking for is the potential of a rejection of this baseline at this 558, as well as this cloud depending on where we actually interact with it. Finally, looking at this as a range, we can see that we are currently below this value area low, which is sitting here towards this 351. Now if we do manage to push back above this, what I would then be looking out for would be that potential to move back into this point of control, which is sitting up here towards this 3828. Now, if we do see price actually move back up here in a 3-wave move, this would probably invalidate that idea of that 4th and a 5th. But really, until we take these highs, we can't rule out the idea of further continuation to the downside. So I'd still be mindful of this point of control. A rejection off of this could be quite a bad sign and could mean that we're going to extend out. Now, as well as that, if we do see price actually start to develop to the upside here, what I'd be looking to actually see is if we get a reaction up here towards this 006119, which would be off of this value area high. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Obviously this area here, so this whole consolidation area here is a potential resistance zone if we do move back up into it. So I would be keeping an eye on this as well between this level here really of this 4613 to the, I mean, this has a big zone here really, this 569 region. So keeping an eye on that if we do look to push up into it. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.